Hello, welcome to a new video of Dynasty War, and today we're going to talk about enhancing skill or not. And today we will be talking about Zhang Jiao, because he is a pretty good common 7-star hero that I have in one of my accounts, and it's 10 out of 10 already. And as you can see right here, I also have the hero seal with the attribute that increase the skill damage as well. I think it's only like 12%, not too much, but it's still a good benefit because he does have really low damage to begin with. And I mean, the past couple of weeks, the past couple of enhancing skill video, I've been talking about common 7-star fan hero. Last week was Pang Tong, the week before that was Zhou Yu. So these are more like really common fan hero that are really strong and easy to use because they're passive skill. They do a lot of damage. They can clear out structures, clear out troops effectively, good for offense and defense in the early game. And I'll consider your first couple of 7-star as your early game because before that it's really baby game. So in here, these couple of heroes do have their abilities that does make a difference when they're awakened, and that's why I want to talk about it. And Zhang Jiao is one of the heroes that I really want to awaken for a long time, but there is always someone that I want to do before him. Mainly unparalleled hero. So Zhang Jiao, his skill release 5 lightning strike, and each of them does 769 damage. So it's very common to compare him with Zhuge Liang, which I will do as well because they're both 5 lightning strikes and they do certain damage. But he is like the baby version of Zhuge Liang, because he does not do as much damage. He does not track the target. He just used all 5 lightning strikes, and well, it's better. It used to be worse. He used to have a pattern. It always strike the 5 location, but right now it tracks enemy as well, but not like Zhuge Liang because Zhuge Liang can hit the same target 5 times if you just keep tracking him. So there is a difference in how you use them. Now, in terms of cooldown, they're the same thing. They both have 12-second cooldown. Obviously, his partnership is much easier to satisfy. I think the hardest one is a 6-star hero, and that's it. So in early game, you really have advantage to easily get him and get the most damage out of him. The other thing is that his base attribute is very low. It's only it's not really comparable to most other heroes. Very low, very low as a fan hero. But since I haven't awakened him yet, so let's take a look at the awakened version. It's still 12-second cooldown, obviously 15 out of 15 does 990 area damage. And the awakened version, awakened skill, increase each lightning's damage by 25%. Now this is not his original skill, awakening skill. They changed it quite recent. I mean, I don't actually remember. I played this for around a year, a little bit more, so I don't exactly remember when they changed it. It used to increase his own attack speed by some percentage, quite a lot of percentage as well. So let me just quickly talk about what the difference between that awakening skill and this awakening skill. This awakening skill doesn't seem as effective because he does have low skill damage to begin with. So adding a 25% is not that much. I mean, he doesn't even have 1,000 damage per strike, so you're not even adding 250 damage per lightning strike. So is it really that useful? Maybe we will talk about that. But the past one is the attack speed. Increasing attack speed can be very helpful in most situations because his skill is good for clearing things, and when you increase his attack speed, he can do a lot of damage to single target, which it happens a lot if you use him on defense or even on offense. When he uses skill, he get a couple seconds of high attack speed and do a lot of damage to single target, mainly hero. That will be very beneficial. Now the downside of that is he doesn't have high DPS, but the good thing is you can increase fan heroes attack speed by 35% with treasure, along with whatever the awakening skill it give you. He could attack really fast, and even at that point, a hero attack speed. I mean, you can kind of compare this to other heroes. Obviously, his attack speed is not going to go up to like 100%. But for example, Zhao Yun's attack speed can go up to 120% with 700 DPS. I mean that's a lot of damage per hit. Heroine goes up to 200 something percent attack speed, but her base DPS is like 300. So Zhang Jiao's DPS is like in the middle. He does not have extremely high attack speed, but he doesn't start with low attack speed anyways. Have a attack range of 3 tiles. So I mean, you can also with Hero Seal right now, it's easy to or even just the treasure, you can increase his DPS by 25% just with the gold attribute, and he can easily do, I mean, probably over 1,000 damage per second with the increased attack speed. But the situation is not always that ideal. You don't always see that scenario where you can do that. And I don't remember how many percent the attack speed was and how long it lasts. Maybe it lasts for like 2 seconds. Well, probably more reasonable is like 5 seconds, and he could be walking around during that 5 seconds. So maybe that's why it's not as useful. But to me, I think that skill is more. It could be more useful than this skill right here. But we're gonna do some math and see what this awakening skill actually offer Zhang Jiao in battle. Okay, so right here I listed Zhang Jiao's damage per strike and the total damage, and then Zhuge Liang's as well damage and total damage. So as you can see, before awakening, they are off by quite a lot, 100 something. Okay, not quite 200 yet. And same thing around here, about almost 200. And the total damage, you can see even at 15 out of 15, he does not do 5,000 damage with his original skill. But that's not true, because once you awaken him, there's a couple percentage added to him already because of his awakening skill. So he will do more than 5,000 damage entire skill in 12 seconds. So that's pretty good. 12 seconds, 5,000 damage. If we want to do the math, that is, I don't know, around 400 or 500 DPS for the skill. So this is a comparison. Again, the increase from 10 out of 10 to 15 out of 15 is not a lot. Just like Zhuge Liang, this is 235. This is 221, which is the increase is even less. So you may be thinking, well, then we don't need to increase. We don't need to level his main skill up at all because it doesn't give you much, right? Not quite, because of his awakening skill, and we're gonna talk about his awakening skill right now. So awakening skill 1 through 5, I don't have him awaken, and I don't know anyone that has awakened Zhang Jiao that is not maxed out. In my alliance, there's one person who have awakened Zhang Jiao, and he's a 5 out of 5. So I don't know what this the first couple of level is. So I have 2 guesses. Okay, the first guess is you start out with 5%, and in each level you get 5 more percent, which I think is wrong. So I don't know why I put this here. I don't think this is the actual thing, because most awakening skill, they give you more when you first awaken him, and then the increase is lower than the first time, and then constantly goes up like that. So in this case, the first increase is 5%, and every increase is 5%, which is, I think, is wrong. This is more reasonable. You get 9%, so you pay the 150,000 beads, you get 9%, and then the next time you get 4 more percent. Why did I come up with this? Because Ma Chao is like this. Ma Chao has a mitigation of 25%. The end game level is 25%, and he started with 9%, and then each time you get is 4%. So I assume if they maxed out 25%, they will follow this order. It could still be wrong, but I'm gonna stick with this one right now, just because it seems the most reasonable. Because earlier I said giving him extra damage on his skill is really not the most ideal thing, because his skill doesn't do that much damage, and that is true. But now that they are giving him attack that damage in his skill, you probably want to make use of that, because if you do the math, or if we do the math, it actually makes sense. And because of that reason, you actually want to level up his skill as well. And here's the thing: he became a very highly invest hero. You need to get him to 15 out of 15 and 5 out of 5 to see how strong he is. And you can still argue he's not strong enough because of his base attribute. And let's take a look at this math right here. So let's start with this side first. Okay, the damage is 769, which is this damage. Now you don't really get this because once you awaken him, you get more, and then you up that 10 level, you get even more. So this is not really a good way to talk about his skill, his damage. So let's just change it to 850. Let's just say you awaken him and get him 10 extra level. He goes up to 850, which might or might not be true. I don't know, maybe more, maybe less. But this column and this column basically take these percentage and add on to see the actual or the final damage that he gets. So on the right, you always get more until the last column because you get more, and then each increase is less, but you still get more than the first column. So I think it is the second column. So as you can see, if you don't touch him, just awaken him 60 level, that's what he would do. That's what his damage would do, and it will be better than just the basic Zhuge Liang, which is not that strong. If you don't level up his main skill, there's no way you can match an 15 out of 15 Zhuge Liang. There's just no way you can do that. The highest damage you can get, it's less than 1100. So that is why you need to upgrade this skill as well, his original skill. And it's unfortunate that, I mean, they kind of planned it, right? Because obviously there's no point in upgrading this. I mean, earlier there's no point in awakening Zhang Jiao because he's not that strong. Giving him attack speed sometimes is useful, sometimes it's not useful at all. But now that his awakening skill incentivizes you to upgrade his main skill, you have to upgrade his main skill so that the awakening skill is more powerful. Now, if you're upgrading his original skill to be more powerful, you want to upgrade his awakening skill to be even more powerful. So this is a good combination. They help each other out. So that's why it kind of forces you to invest a lot of beads and resources to Zhang Jiao if you decide to awaken him and get him to be on par or even stronger than Zhuge Liang. So that's one way to do it. That's one way to think about it. So if you do upgrade his skill to 15 out of 15, as you can see, if we go with the second column, it only takes a third awakening skill 3 out of 5 to have more damage than Zhuge Liang's 15 out of 15. Now Zhuge Liang's awakening skill heals him, so there's no way he get more damage than this. Unless Hero Seal, I mean, you can use Hero Seal on Zhang Jiao as well. I'll talk about that just in a moment. Now, if we take the first column, awakening 3 out of 5 is not enough. Okay, but as I said, I think the second column is more reasonable. So if you just go up to 3 out of 5, which is pretty easy, it's only 150,000 beats more, right? You use 150,000 to awaken, 50, and then 100,000. You get to 3 out of 5, and then each lightning strike is already stronger than Zhuge Liang's lightning strike. If you continue to go on, you get even more. Okay, now, do you really need to go up to 5 out of 5 then? Well, I mean, if you're doing it anyways, you get more damage. So, but this is a common 7-star hero. And you're comparing a common 7-star hero to an unparalleled 7-star hero, and it's Zhuge Liang that you're comparing. There is a big thing to note, is that Zhang Jiao can be very strong. A hero that is not really that useful in late game. Once you awaken him and get him to 15 out of 15 and 5 out of 5, he can be stronger than a Zhuge Liang. Now, I'm just talking about damage wise. I'm not talking about the other stuff, survivability or whatever, and how the skill goes. But before I go into other stuff, let's talk about the skill. So Zhang Jiao has a lot of change. Now his skill released a 5 lightning strike at the same time. It will target troops. It will focus on targeting things. So it will not hit nothing unless there's nothing to hit, which is similar to Zhuge Liang. And when I talk about Zhuge Liang in his video, I said that his skill is almost instant. It takes about 1 to 2 seconds, which is pretty instantaneous. It's very quick. Now Zhang Jiao is really instantaneous because he uses skill at the same time. 5 strike, boom. Now the only downside is he cannot hit. Most likely he cannot hit the same target, so he cannot kill hero in one go. Zhuge Liang can kill hero or most structure in one skill because he can target it multiple times, while Zhang Jiao cannot. This is the difference. If you want really instantaneous damage, Zhang Jiao obviously is better because, I mean, even though Zhuge Liang can heal himself at most 6%, if you use Zhuge Liang a lot, you probably see that he dies during the duration of the skill. He might have 2 strikes or 3 strikes and then die. The healing is not high enough to sustain himself. Maybe if you have the Hero Seal attribute that gives him more healing, maybe that he can survive better. But sometimes he just take too much damage that he can't heal himself faster than he take damage, which I've seen a lot. I don't have Jigglyang, but I also seen a lot. No matter if they're attacking me or I am attacking them. So instantaneous of skill damage is very important, as I've mentioned multiple times. So he has one upside, but the other thing is his base attribute is so low. If you compare, which I talked about earlier, if you compare Zhang Jiao to most other fan hero in the 7-star, he has basically the lowest health, the lowest DPS. Health I think is like 3,800 for an awakened one, if I'm not mistaken, and the damage was 502 for an awakened one. Jigglyang has low HP, and he still has 3,900, and then his damage is like 530 something or 540 something. So Zhang Jiao really has a disadvantage in his base attribute. If not, I mean, his damage is high and it's fast. 12 second, hit 5 targets at the same time. It's good for a wide range of destruction, but you really need to buff his damage even higher to do that. Because if you remember in Jigglyang's video, I talk about you don't need to upgrade his skill, because going from 1100 to 1145, it's not enough to destroy one building in one hit. You still have to hit it 2 times, so what's the point, right? So it's kind of like this. You're gonna get most buildings into like very, very little health, and then it's not enough. Now, if you have another hero that can do a lot of damage to multiple targets, in my mind right now, maybe like Ghost Fire, right? She does 6 targets, and it's always 6 different targets around 1100 or even more. Then both of them activate their skill together, clear 5-6 items. Pretty good. So that's the problem. But with Hero Seal, you can buff the damage even higher. However, I think Hero Seal takes the damage from here. Okay, so even though let's say if you have the 30% damage increase for Jigglyang, that's a lot, because you just take 1100. Let's put it right here, 1145 times 1.3. So it becomes 1400. However, if you have the 30% damage for Zhang Jiao, you don't take this 1200 damage, you take this. Because I don't think the Hero Seal percentage includes the awakening skill percentage for most heroes. I don't think they will do that, because if they do, it will be much stronger. So how do you actually calculate that math? Well, you take 900 instead of 30%. You take 30% plus the 25%, which is 55. And in that case, you see the difference from Jigglyang and Zhang Jiao is not as big as here. Well, I mean, it's still pretty close. This is around 90. This is like 50 difference. So, but you're still getting more. Now, if you have a Zhang Jiao that can does 1500 per strike, that's a lot. That is really a lot, and it's very useful. And I mean, however, I really like the design of this hero right now, because although I said like giving him extra damage for his low damage skill is not really like very useful, but it's very incentive to use him. Okay, he's not like extremely powerful. Obviously, we always want more damage, but both his skill actually synergize with each other. His original skill and awakening skill actually synergize with each other and give you benefit for upgrading both of them. Unlike most heroes, I would just tell you, oh, upgrade his original skill, upgrade his awakening skill, because you don't need both of them. And in this case, it actually make Zhang Jiao a very strong hero. I mean, if you just compare damage-wise and skill-wise, he is on par with Jigglyang in most cases, and depends how you use it. So, I mean, if you have a hero seal, I mean, there's no point why you don't want to use Zhang Jiao, especially if you don't pay a lot of money, or you don't use a lot of money in this game, you don't have a lot of 7-star, and Jigglyang wasn't your first choice, then Zhang Jiao basically can do that once you get him to 15 out of 15 and 5 out of 5. I mean, you don't have to, right? 15 out of 15 and then 3 out of 5, right? That's already stronger than 15 out of 15 Jigglyang. So he is a very strong, common 7-star hero, strong throughout the whole game, early game to mid game. Maybe late game he will not be strong enough. I mean, Jigglyang is not really strong at like high end gameplay, because he does not do enough damage. And I think most experienced, or I guess high level player will agree with me that Jigglyang is not really so strong at the end of the game, because he just doesn't do enough damage, doesn't have enough health, doesn't have doesn't do enough. Especially new heroes keep coming out. So I've been just talking about random stuff now. So I'll end the video right here, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.